Hey y'all, this is Jessie with the Army Wife Knitting Life podcast. This is a podcast about knitting, crocheting, yarn, and fibery goodness in general. If that sounds like it's your cup of tea, why don't you brew a cup and sit on down and grab your needles. Today we have fun things going on. We've got giveaways, we have cows, we have finished objects, we've got works in progress. We have so much stuff to do and talk about. I can't wait. So let's start off with good news first. A giveaway! Yay! Who doesn't love a good giveaway, y'all? We discussed that we love free stuff. I love free stuff. So, you can't see it, but I'm drum rolling on my desk for our lovely giveaway from Bumpy Crafts. Let me go ahead and grab this because I already put it in my talked about box. But this is the third time I'm recording this because my husband called in the middle of the first one and my mom in the middle of the second one. So, we have this lovely bag from Bumpy Crafts. And it comes with the matching yarn cozy. And it comes with some fabulous yarn. And a progress keeper that matches the bag. Alright, Bumpy Crafts is an Etsy shop. And they are not sponsoring me, but I loved this bag so much. And I had to buy it. And I absolutely loved it. And then I thought about it and I said, Jessica, you know yourself. It's a drawstring bag and it's a sock size drawstring bag. What are you going to do with this? So I want to give it to somebody who can give it the proper love and attention. And that person is, according to Random Number Generator, between numbers 1 and 27 based off of Instagram comments, number 12. Y'all are not going to get to see my Facebook messages. Okay. So, number 12, and I am just counting this off of what the order the comments show on my Instagram. So, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Number 12 is Missy K. Schmidt. Congrats, Missy! She is also my friend. I'm going to be upfront about that right now. I am not rigging it in any way, shape, or form. You guys saw Random Number Generator. And I just wanted to be upfront so there is no confusion or hemming and hawing. So, alright. Sorry about that. I had to respond to that. That was an urgent message. So, congratulations, Missy. You will see that she is the moderator on my brand new Facebook group. Not Facebook. Oh my goodness. Jessica, you are way too tired after saying this 3 times. It's also 9 p.m., y'all. And I know I'm a night owl, but I don't think this late in the day. It is a new Ravelry group. If you have not found me on Ravelry yet, go to the groups tab, type in Army Wife Knitting Life, and you will see a badge that is a picture of Stonehenge. I took that on my trip to England last month. So, that will not always be the picture, but that's what it is for now because I have fun things in the works. So, Stonehenge is temporary, and I'm just going to leave it at that. Alright. Giveaway is done. I wanted to say thank you guys so much for helping me reach 100 subscribers. I never thought I would reach 10 subscribers, let alone 100. And to know that people care about my knitting and my travels is so heartwarming and humbling. And I feel so blessed because as much as Germany is accepting of knitting, and it's a very normal thing to see here because A, it's so cold during the winters. But, I mean, children are taught how to knit in schools here. But the problem with that is, yes, there's yarn everywhere. As you guys have heard me say, there's yarn in my grocery store. I go to Enica and I pick up a ball or two of Regia. I stick it in the cart and I go home. And I cast it on. if I'm good. If not, it just goes to sit in my pretty sock yarn cubby. So, but that's not important. But the problem is that my German is nowhere near good enough to be able to go to these knitting groups where they're talking and chatting about their knitting. And I'm so used to having that community in the States. And so when I came over here, there was a small group of knitting or crocheting Army spouses. I met up once or twice a week, but it was a very small group. There was only 5 of us. And since then, 2 of them have moved and 1 has gotten a job. So there's only 2 left, and it's not the same, you know? So having this community, having a chance to talk and share my love of yarn and just crafting in general is so wonderful. And I can't thank you guys enough for wanting to sit and listen to me ramble for hours, or, well, let's be honest, I normally stick around 30 to 45 minutes for a podcast. But to know that you guys sit and watch it all is just wonderful, and I am so appreciative of that. So thank you so much. I hope that we can continue to grow and get some more subscribers and viewers, because I want to share the experiences here. I know it's not a very common thing to get to live overseas for 3 years at a time. People go on trips, yes, overseas, and that's awesome. But you get a taste of the culture. It's like an appetizer. I get to have the full course living here for 3 years. So with that said, I should probably explain. As an Army wife, I am stationed, well, my husband is stationed, I follow along. We are currently living in Bavaria, Germany. And when you think of Germany, it's typically Bavaria you're thinking of. All the castles are here, the Dirndls and the Lederhosen are here, and Oktoberfest is in Munich, about 2 hours away. It just started about a week ago, so there's all sorts of shenanigans going on over here. And with that said, I want to explain something. Since I am living in Germany, and it's not a common experience, I have my mom flying in tomorrow night. And probably by the time y'all get to watch this, it'll be tonight. Because, let's be honest, it's 9:00 p.m. my time. And this all still has to upload onto YouTube. So it's probably going to be a while. It's not going to be posted up until tomorrow. Currently, it is September 28th for me. So you're either watching this on the 29th or at a later date, and that's okay. But my mom is flying in. It was a birthday present from my husband this year, along with my spinning wheel, which is a Kromsky Sonata. His name is Juggy. He is not getting any love on the podcast so far. I don't even think I've mentioned him yet, because I haven't had time to play with him and learn how to spin yet. And I've been dying to, but I have other things I need to get done first. So, with that all being said, with my mom coming, I don't know what my podcast schedule is going to be like. So, my goal, I'm laying it out here in hopes that I can actually stick to it and you guys can know about what to expect. I was supposed to record last week. I pushed it back because this way I'll have a brand new one, and then hopefully in about 3 weeks, which is the halfway point of my mom being here, I will release another one. I don't know if she's going to pop in for a segment or 2 or what. She's a little shy. We'll see. I don't know. She's also a knitter and crocheter, so maybe not. Then after that 3-week mark, my goal is to get another one out right before she leaves, because I am going with her back to the States for 6 weeks. So that's the rest of my year, you guys. 6 weeks here and then 6 weeks over there. That's all that is left for 2018. 12 weeks. If you guys have not started your Christmas crafting yet, I suggest you get on it or figure out other presents for people, because it's coming fast. And so we'll be doing one right before we head back to the States. After that, I don't know if it'll be... I'm going to try and do Vlogmas, but I don't know if that's going to work because I am going to a few different places while I am over in the States. So, I also... If I have anything, it's probably I'm just going to be bringing socks and one shawl and possibly a sweater, but that's going to be for a different time. So let's get into our nitty stuff, our goodness. All right, first thing is graduation section. These are skeins that have grown up to become finished objects. Yes. As I said, it's late. My brain has shut off. I am a dork. But y'all love me for that, right? I have a total of 5 graduated objects. However, only 4 of them are upstairs. My 5th object is downstairs blocking. So, you're not going to see it, but you've technically seen it already. So, we'll get into that in a second. First finished object. Well, bam, Halloweeny socks. Yes, the blacks are different when you get to the heels because the stripes are from Yarn Jar in their Halloween colorway. The black on the heel and the cuff is Knit Picks Stroll in black because I did not want to mess up these gorgeous, gorgeous stripes. So I knit all of my socks the same way. I go toe up on a magic loop. My needle size will switch between 1, 1.25, and 1.5. Typically it's a 54 stitch sock and I always do a Fish Lips Kiss Heel. The pattern I use for my basic vanilla recipe is Vanilla Extract by Risen Knits. And if you go look on that project page, over half of the projects done are my socks because I always make sure to link it. So I think the pattern is $1 and it has a link to Fish Lips Kiss Heel, which is also $1. If you don't have the pattern yet, please go get it. It is a fantastic pattern. It does sound a little scary at 19 pages, but most of that is just good information to have. That's where I knew how to do a cardboard cutout of my foot. And for anyone I wanted to knit socks for, it explains the math behind it, how to make your foot. Then the actual pattern is like 8 lines. So it looks intimidating, but I promise it is not. I know that I had requests when I did the giveaway. I had done the give me constructive criticism on the podcast. And my friend Angela had suggested I talk about the different kinds of socks since I'm a sock knitting expert. However, I can tell you, I am a sock knitting machine. Yes, this is true. However, I always do toe up. I always do Fish Lips Kiss Heel. I always do magic loop because I've done approximately 2 to 3 pairs of cuff downs on double pointed needles with a heel flap and gusset, and let me tell you, not for me. I don't enjoy it. I don't find it mindless, and when I'm knitting, I want to do something, especially for socks, that I know is going to fit well, and I can never get the perfect fit with any of those socks, and so this does fit my foot beautifully, and I'm not going to mess with that. So, this is the first pair, and I am using my Alex Workshop Design sock blockers. These are the owls. This is their mahogany stain color, and I absolutely love them. He is based in the Ukraine, so it does take a little bit longer for you to get your sock blockers, but absolutely worth it. They're well taken care of. They're well made. They don't have a strange smell when you get them, and when he packages them, he wraps them in saran wrap individually, then wraps them together, and then puts cardboard around them. So you know that your sock blockers are safe. I absolutely love them. I actually just ordered a pair of mitt blockers that will be coming soon, and I am so excited. Second pair. These are the Truth or Dare socks from Nomadic Yarns, and they are sparkly. And everything is showing up pretty true to color as of right now. I know I have this funny light over here. It's because my desk lamp has died and needs to get a bulb from the States. And people are very hesitant to ship things like light bulbs over here. So I have to wait till I'm back home to go get the bulb and then bring it back when I'm back here in the new year. So I have my generic artificial sunlight lamp behind me. illuminating everything because otherwise this room is way too dark. But so, yay sparkles. These are on more Alex Workshop Design sock blockers. Just, I call them the crazy circle blockers. Both of those are done. Next pair is my Desert Vista Dye Works socks. Woohoo! This is the Clue colorway. And again, sparkle! Because I love sparkles. And this is my 9th pair for the 4th annual monthly sock club that Desert Vista Dye Works hosts. I have my next skein picked out for color, and you will see that in a little bit. I can't wait. And these are on my Hamilton blockers, as I call them. We're going to talk about Hamilton in a minute. This next pair is Regia. They are going to be a little big. These are on my Alex Workshop Design Heart sock blockers. They look a little big for the blockers because they are. These are for my mother. And it's a Regia Vivid color. It's just a bunch of numbers, so I'm not even going to pull it up. I also don't think you can get it anymore, let's be honest. And so these are for her. She's been worried about the cold because she lives in Mississippi, where it gets chilly. It does not get cold. So I have that pair done. And then I actually have the 5th pair done, which is the 2nd pair of German socks. You saw my finished pair in the last episode that I did by myself. And she has a matching pair now. They're on their own set of blockers downstairs getting ready for her to arrive tomorrow. I am very excited. Now, about these socks, you will notice that they are all stripy. That is because I am getting ready for Laura of A Crocheting Hoovian and I's joint cow sensational stripes. In this, you can weave, spin, if you can somehow show us that you get stripes in spinning. I don't know how you do that, but I'll count it. On my group with her, you'd have to check. Weaving, crocheting, knitting, sewing, anything with stripes. It doesn't have to be self-striping, but anything with stripes, you can knit it in between October 1st and the end of the year. Post it in our groups for fun prizes. My prize, well, my grand prize, is this bag from Fate's Thread. It's got fun sprinkles and a skein of Regia Vierfadig Garn, or Wolle, as we call it here in Germany. It's pretty blues. It matched the bag pretty well, I thought. There is also a pattern giveaway for a pattern of your choice, $7 or below, gifted by Laura, and I am doing the same for her podcast. So be sure and put your entries in both groups on Ravelry for double the chance to win prizes, because again, free things are awesome. So we have all that discussed. And now we're going to talk about Hamilton really quickly before we get into everything else. This is a knitting podcast. I am aware of that. I spoke about Hamilton on about 2 or 3 of my podcasts so far because I am also a big Broadway musical theater lover. All through high school and pretty much ever since I can remember, I have been involved in dance and choir. And middle school and high school and a little bit of college, I participated in the musical theater programs at my schools. So I've always been a big supporter of the arts. I saw this show and I was very excited. And then I was talking about it on here and I got some very negative feedback. And negative feedback is okay as long as it's constructive. However, what was said I felt needed to be addressed on here so that everyone can know that this has happened and my stance on it. I try to not get very political in my posts and in my recordings and my podcasts. If you want my political stuff, you find me on Facebook. And I don't post very often on there, but about 75% of the stuff I do post is political. And it's just pictures or a status about. That doesn't matter, because we're not a political podcast. We're a knitting podcast. However, the comments stated were that, be aware this might be considered offensive to some. It asked me how I could possibly support such a disastrous, un-American show. Our founding fathers would cry and be fully offended and disrespected if they knew that ghetto street music was being used to tell their story. And how dare the cast disrespect Vice President Pence. That was what was said. And I am here to say that what I love about Hamilton is it is America. It is new America. The cast is purposefully cast diversely. It is not a whitewashing of the cast. You have people of all ethnicities participating in this show in the major roles, which in a lot of shows you don't really find. If you look at any Disney show, they're fantastic and they're getting better about making sure that there is diversity in their cast. But for a long time, there was not that diversity in most shows. There still isn't in a lot of shows. And so when Lin-Manuel Miranda created it, he says, I want America now to tell the story of America then. And then, yes, pretty much everybody looked white. I understand that. But America now is a melting pot. We have people of all different cultures, ethnicities, and colors in our country. And if you want to tell the story of America now, that is what you need to show and represent. And having music, not ghetto street music, but different genres of music, is also a part of America now. I love a good traditional Broadway ballad. I also love calypso. I love classical music. I love some rap. I love pop. I love R&B. I love jazz. And this show brings it all together. It is a melting pot like America is. With that said, with the soundtrack being different genres, it is getting people into theater that would have never been interested in theater before now. It is reaching out to this younger generation who sees Broadway as something that is for the rich white person and is unattainable for middle class and below. It has reached out to them and grabbed them by the soul and said, yes, you're welcome here. We want you here. We embrace you and your presence, and we embrace who you are as a person. That is the wonderful thing about Hamilton. This show puts on this thing called EduHam, and schools are signing up by the dozens to have these workshops where students will create these poems and rap, and you have this poetry jam at the theater with the Hamilton cast for wherever they're touring at. And they get to share and make music together. I think that is a wonderful thing because I can't... I'm going to try and tone it back. I'm sorry. I get very heated and passionate about this topic. I would never be able to afford a Broadway show on Broadway. It is too expensive, and Hamilton especially. It has turned into a show on the Broadway, actual Broadway tour and cast, where you have to give up your firstborn to go see it. Any big show has a price ticket that leaves you wondering, am I going to be able to eat this month if I buy this ticket? And I don't think that's okay. And so when we were at the West End, the shows are much more affordable. And I appreciate that. And Hamilton is trying to break down that price barrier. That's why they've started on Wednesdays. They have a Hamil Rap and the lottery, and the cast comes out and sings just random songs so that it's more attainable. It's not something for the elite. Finally, about disrespecting Vice President Pence. I know it's a controversial topic. My feelings are that the cast asked a question. That is all. They said, "Hi, we understand that this is what you stand for. We want you to realize that you're seeing a show that stands for this, and that its cast stands for this. That's all we ask, and that you keep an open mind." That's all. Should they have called him out in the audience? My political feeling says you had him there. He was an open ear. Yes, do it. I can understand why people see it as inappropriate, though. And so that is all I'm going to say on the subject. I love Hamilton and will continue to support it. And I hope that there aren't more negative comments coming from this. But I felt in my heart that this had to be said because it had been bothering me ever since I had gotten the nasty messages about the show and what I had said. So, let's move on to fun things that are not politically a mess. All right, we have one whip right now, just the one, because it's a bit of a time suck. And this is my lovely little moment to say, Tracy, Chad, Jake, vámonos por 5 minutos, por favor. My aunt speaks Spanish fluently. She teaches children that Spanish is their native language, and she's helping with their English. So, with that said, this is for them. Their Christmas present. And it is getting really hard to show you guys. I will be putting up a picture at the end before I do my regular slideshow of pictures of my trip. So, we're going to try and show this as well as we can. But it's a little difficult. So bear with me. Alright. I was just finishing this row right here. Last time I recorded. I've since added this many rows. Woohoo! And something just fell down my chair. What was it? Okay. We're going to pick this up really fast. Done. Alright, so that many rows. That's some decent work, y'all. Because it's 50 squares per row. So I've finished the whole word of walking. And I have now started on the dead. So let me back up. Hopefully you'll be able to... You can't get quite the whole thing in. But you'll understand the immensity of this project. Yes, I know that there are ends everywhere. Okay. So as you can see, I'm about halfway through the dead. Okay. Sitting down, and we're going to move this blanket over to this side. Okay. That thing is getting warm, y'all, and heavy. It almost does not fit in my loft anymore for me to take pictures. That's a little scary. But that's probably going to be the main thing that you see me working on for the next month, because I'm hoping to get it done before I go back stateside so I can ship it in a box. and have it be done. And I can just enjoy my time in the States and not worry about having to race to get it finished for Christmas. As I said, it'll be pictures, and at the end, you can also check my Ravelry project page for it. It has the pictures for the progress. It is immense, and I call it my blanket of doom because it's so much work. It gets most of my time, as I said. I do love it, and I'm going to be excited to see it done, but I'm at the point of I hate working on it. But I have promised it will be done, so it will be done. Okay. That is my crocheting. That's kind of all I have for that stuff. I'm now getting into stash enhancement. So if you are not interested in that, that's fine. I do have 2 quick things to discuss for future knits. I'll discuss those really quickly, but after that, it's all stash enhancement and life and pictures from my trip to Spain. So, all right. The first future knitting is my skein for the October Desert Vista Dye Works sock club. I'm going to be doing Hong Kong, Mickey, and Minnie. I just felt it was Halloween-y enough with the purple and the oranges and the blacks, and the pink doesn't really necessarily make it Halloween, but I really like the skein, and I'm hoping to go to the Mickey's Not So Scary Haunted Halloween party at Disneyland Paris in about 2 weeks. So I'm hoping that I will have these socks done, and hopefully I can wear them there. So this is on her Zein base, which is a 75-25 superwash merino, nylon, and stellina. I am so excited, and of course, it has to sparkle because I love sparkles. Okay. And then there has been a new pattern that has come out recently that I am dying to knit, you guys. I am so excited. I have been waiting to cast on. I have to get this blanket done first, but the second it is done, I am casting this sweater on. It is the Find My Way by Dragon Horde Designs, aka Tristan. And she dyes Dragon Horde yarn, and she has a podcast with her mom, and they are the Girls in the Yarn Cafe. I have hair in my mouth. I'm sorry. I'm shedding, y'all. This is not good because it's wintertime and it's cold. I should not be shedding in the winter. I need the warmth. So, I am going to plan, this is a DK weight cabled sweater. I am planning to knit it in Knit Picks Capra DK in the Caviar colorway. And it's kind of a silvery grayish brown. Tan is all I can think of to describe this color. It's not a normal color, but I think it's beautiful. And I cannot wait to make it. I have 20 balls of this ready to go because I always feel more comfortable having extra. And we are going to see how long this takes me. I'm so excited, you guys. I love cables, and I haven't cabled in so long. So I've been waiting patiently. All right, that's all for future knitting, y'all. I am just into pure stash enhancement and life chatter now. So if this is where we say goodbye, you're not interested, or you're trying to not be enabled, I understand. Have a great time. I will see you in a few weeks. If not, let's get going after I take a sip of my drink. This time it is Coke Light caffeine free, or as I say, caffeine free, and onicalorian, which means caffeine free and no calories, because I'm trying to go to bed at a decent hour today. And since recording this approximately 3 times, I'm a little thirsty and my mouth is a little dry. Okay. I'm so excited. We are going to do yarn first, and then I will move on from there to other things. I will say that y'all are about to see a bit of wool piggery this week. And then the next time there will be a small amount of wool piggery. But after that, things are going to start slowing down. I am trying very hard. Next year in the Ravelry group, I'm going to try and do a knit from stash cal. That will be a year-long cal where you enter in the number of skeins you have in your house onto a page. I'm kind of borrowing off of Honeybee Knits' cal from last year. And I don't want you to keep track of how many come in, because I don't want to stash shame. But I want you to say, okay, I have had this much to start the year in, and I want to know at the end of the year how much you have taken out. Because I move in 2 years, and we only have a certain weight limit that we're allowed, and I have more than tripled my yarn stash since moving here. It's getting a little heavy, and I'm okay with carrying the weight, but I want it to be in finished objects, not in stuff that's waiting to be done. Because I can, when it's clothes and things that you just need for everyday life, you can stick it in your unaccompanied baggage, or you get, if it's for work or the way that you, or the way that you make your living, you get an extra so much weight and they ship it faster. So I am going to be trying very hard to get my stash made into things. Also, I have about 10 sweater quantities worth of yarn. And when they're each 20 balls, when each sweater quantity is approximately 18 to 22 balls, it's a lot. I am thoroughly overwhelmed. And next year is my year of the sweater. And so I want to get this done. I want to get stash moving. And I want to see all this beautiful yarn that I've purchased already be turned into things. I might still buy a skein here or there, but I'm going to be much more conscious of what I am buying. So with that said, we're getting to the end of the wool piggering. Is that a word? Wool piggerying. Okay, so with that said, the first thing that I have is Knit Picks Felici went on sale for 30% off. And I already have 2 skeins in each color. But I decided, after hearing about Jasmine and Gigi talk about sock arm sweaters on the Knit More Girls podcast for so long, I want to make some sock arm sweaters. So I have purchased 4 extra skeins of, oh gosh, Stormy Sky. That's upside down. There we go. And I will probably do a fun color for the body of the sweater. I don't have the bodies picked out for these yet, by the way. It is just the sleeves that I have. The sock arms picked out. I have 4 skeins of that, and I will have the 5th one because it only takes me 1 skein to make a pair of socks for me when I do coordinating heels, toes, and cuffs. So that's 1 set. And then my next set, I'm not going to pull them all out of the bag. I got 4 skeins of Acrobat. This was my favorite color from this release that they did. I think it is unique since it's all tertiary colors. It's not something you normally see together. I think it's so fun and I love it. I do need to get body yarn for this too. My plan was originally going to be going to shop the big sale when Knit Picks has it in November, but I don't know if I'm going to do that or not, or if I'm going to try and find something in my stash. I don't think I have something in my stash in sock yarn that'll work with those colors, but even if not, those sweaters are down the road because I have more DK weight sweaters that I need to get done first. So they are, they're down the road and I can save up and get more out before I bring more in. The other thing, before I forget, is The yarn I showed you for the Find My Way, I am using that sweater for my friend Deborah, aka Doc Firewoman, aka Buckthorn Farms. Her cal is I'm Worth It. And if you haven't seen her podcast, you need to see it. It is Diary of a Physicist Farm Gal. And I learned so much from watching her. She talks about science and farm life and all of her crafting, because she does like every craft known to man. And she's such a joy to watch. And I am so happy to be able to call her my friend. I didn't really get into science a lot. I wasn't encouraged to go further into the science learning, and it really intrigued me, but it was never something encouraged in the family. So getting to talk to her is like a dream come true. I get to learn so much and little known facts and more about women scientists, and it's a joy. I absolutely love her. Okay. This is a box of yarn. First thing is Honeybee Knits. Her September Yarn of the Month club came today for me. And oh my goodness, y'all. Not my typical colors, but A, they're my high school colors, except this gray should be white. Go Lansing Lions. And it is inspired by Edgar Allan Poe. It is called The Mask of the Red Death. I love Edgar Allan Poe. I know he doesn't seem like my kind of writer. However, I was part of a young playwrights roundtable in high school where we would create our own scripts. And if we were lucky enough at the end of the year, our scripts would be performed by professional actors in a festival. And that theater that sponsored this does this wonderful production called Telltale Poe. It's a 2-man show. And in actuality, I guess you could say it's a 1-man show, because it is one man performing all of the lines and the other man is playing the electric guitar or the piano the entire show. And my favorite part that he covers is the bells. My absolute favorite. It's wonderful. It also covers Pit and Pendulum. It does Telltale Heart and William Tell, I think. It's wonderful. If you ever get a chance to see it, see it. And if you haven't ever heard of those poems/short stories, read them. I love them. But that is my friend Melissa's yarn. I absolutely love it, and I can't wait. It's probably going to end up being something for the hubs. The next thing I received is this skein of self-striping Slytherin yarn from Mint Rain Yarns. I am excited. It is a twist sock 80/20 superwash merino and nylon. And as we've discussed, I'm a proud Slytherin. I'm going to be knitting some socks for me to wear during a Harry Potter marathon pretty soon. And they will probably go along with my Slytherin Exploration Station kit that I have. Okay. Next is Knit Picks Capra DK. They had... Excuse me, I have hiccups. They had new colors come out. This is their Tansy Heather. I only got the one skein of it because you guys have already seen my Heartstring by Joji Locatelli. And I absolutely love the sweater. I have Capra DK in a navy color, and I think this, for the coordinating contrast up at the top, would be absolutely stunning. This isn't showing up quite right. It's a very mustardy color. It's not quite as brown as it's looking in the podcast. But I have that. Okay. These next 3 yarns are from my darling friend Agatha, or as I call her, Agaga. She is a Magpie Knits on Etsy. And you currently cannot buy yarn in her shop because I have bought her all out. These are the first skeins that came in grapes, honey, and smoke. These are all 75/25 superwash merinos. That's up close. I I love these tonals. Absolutely love them. I'm going to be using these 3 to knit a shawl for my best friend Caitlin in Louisiana because those are LSU colors. And she's an LSU fan. So, go check out her shop. She also sells bags. And I have not had the pleasure of having one of her bags yet. But I have these 3 skeins. And I have 5 more coming. Shh. As I said, the next podcast is the last one that will be full of wool piggery. Otherwise, it's just a skein here or there trickling in. I do have some advent calendars that will be arriving in November. But those are things, as knitters, you know that you order them in like July. So they've been paid for long in advance. And I have a few coming. So, the next thing is yarn jar. Okay, I'm keeping these in the bag for now. Sorry about the crinkling. This is Fancy Feet and Christmas Time. Old Time Christmas, I'm sorry. And there's a cute little mistletoe. Or are they mittens? They're mittens. My bad. And as I said, I am hoarding all of my gobstopper balls so that I can take them with me back to the States. Alright, this last dyer of yarn. Oh my goodness, y'all. I am in love. So much so, you're not going to believe it. This yarn is from Golden Pearls. Okay, this is You Shot My Vase, which if you didn't know, Golden Pearls is all Golden Girls themed yarn. You shot my vase is a quote as I take the tab, the plastic ring off of my Coke bottle off of it. Oh my goodness, that's embarrassing. Sorry, y'all. It's from a season 1 episode. The house is broken into by the girls, and Rose gets a gun, and she shoots when she hears the alarm go off, and it hits Blanche's vase, which Blanche absolutely adores, and she goes, I'd rather you shot Lester! Because the scene is, you shot my vase! Well, Lisa didn't shoot Lester. I'd rather you shot Lester! It's funny. The colors are beautiful. I'm a little delirious at this point, y'all. I'm so sorry. This is a 4-ply DK. It is 100% superwash merino. Absolutely gorgeous color. Their shop is on Etsy. I also ordered a Picture It kit. And so we have Men Love My Cupcakes, which is a Dorothy quote. And it is a 2-ply fingering, 100% superwash merino. And this is a shawl kit for the Picture It shawl, which is by Katie DeGroff. It's gorgeous pattern. There it is. Not in these colors, obviously. There is not a coupon code or anything on there, so you don't have to worry. I'm pulling out the little minis. Okay, we have... This is Whoa, which is a Dorothy quote. This is Miami, You've Got Style, which is a song from When They Enter Competition. And I believe this is just called Rose. Oh, it's No Rose. My bad. So, with that, also... This is their business card. And that is all of their info. I am excited. I am thrilled. I am pumped. I wasn't going to announce it yet, but I'm going to announce it. January 1st, we are starting a Golden Girl along in my group. So what that means is... you can knit anything that you can relate to the Golden Girls. Be it Golden Pearls yarn, which will be worth double points. I will go into rules later and once we're a little closer, but I want to give you guys time to order yarn from them if you want to. They will be worth double entries. If a colorway reminds you of the Golden Girls, put it in. If you knit something while watching the Golden Girls, put it in. I don't care. I just love the Golden Girls. And this yarn has me so excited for it. I know what I'm going to be knitting in the new year. Okay. That is all for the yarn. We're now going to get into bags, books, and a little something extra too. Actually, we'll do the extra now. I've recently become addicted to essential oils. I ordered an oil diffuser on Amazon the other day. Absolutely wonderful. I use it every single night before bed. I am quite fond of eucalyptus and peppermint and tea tree oil. And it's, I love them. That's all I'm going to say on it. It really helps with my anxiety and helping me wind down before bed. Okay. That's done. Now we're going to go on to bags that I have recently acquired. My friend Darlene, Bags by Awesome Granny, came out with her Halloween bags. They're so cute. I got spooky donuts. Most precious thing ever. I love her handles. I love the ring. I love the large zipper. And I love the fantastic fabric. And she always puts her label in on the inside of her bag, so you always know who made it. I use her bags anytime I travel because they are big, they are well made, they can handle some weight, and you can hold so much in them. So much. Unfortunately, these did not come with Notions pouches though. Normally I get a Notions pouch to match, but I'm going to have to live without it. But this is just so cute. Love it. Okay, I have two other bags. These are from Molly of Molly Klein Design. And I love them. This one's also very Halloween-y. And it's got a canvas bottom. This is her sweater-sized bag. She has a little suede pull. That's the inside. And they are just a nice box bottom bag. It's tall and I like that, especially when I have a lot of skeins of yarn. I can shove them all into the bottom and have a little extra room. And I like that because I feel like I don't have to squish my pattern as much. So that's the Halloween one. And then anybody who knows me knows how much I love owls. It's a thing. Ask anybody. You can even see I have this green lunchbox here covered in owls. I have owls everywhere in this room. I try to keep them in here though because my husband is not a fan of them. The owls, the eyes freak him out. But she's had this bag in her shop for a while and I'd been fighting and trying to resist because I really don't need more project bags in my life. But I love them and I will continue to buy them. And when I saw that the Halloween one was there, I said that it's meant to be. I will get the two. Make shipping worth it. How beautiful is this, you guys? Look at those gorgeous owls. And she does a ribbon handle. So it's nice and soft and malleable, flexible. Again, box bottom. This is another sweater size. You can fit a lot of yarn in here, guys. I have tried. It is a lot of yarn. You can fit at least 4 to 5 skeins in. Add in your needles and a pattern and notions. It's fantastic. Okay. Everyone is messaging me today. Oh my goodness. I keep trying to make sure. My husband is in Wiesbaden because it's fiscal year closeout. Meaning it's the time that the Army closes their books for the year and gets their new budget set up. I've already had my little political spiel for the day about Hamilton. I am not getting into the way the Army and military budget goes for U.S. government. Please do not talk to me about it. I am not ready to handle those questions. Got it? Okay. All right. We're in the book section. This technically is not a book, but it's important to me. I got my planner for next year. This is from Bloom Planners, and it's their Ultimate Planner. Ultimate Planner Notebook. I'm sorry. My bad. I've not filled this out yet, just so my privacy stays my privacy. I'm private. And I like it because it's got lots of resources. It has tabs for keeping everything well organized, because I do have a planner from this year. I did not utilize it to its best ability. I've only used the pages at the very front for the monthly calendars and not the weekly, so it was wasted planner. But I'm determined to be more organized this year so I can track everything that I do, what I work on every day, what day I start it, what day I finish a project, what I work on but don't start or finish, what days I'm going to podcast on. I also like it because it has this beautiful page here of places you want to go or things you're going to do, what you want to focus on, things you want to learn, what you want to be grateful for this year. And then there's notes and ideas per month, and I'm going to have a goal every month. I don't know what it's going to be yet. It's probably going to be something that I determine as I get closer to that month. This planner also has a page for you to put all the birthdays in and important dates you need to know, anniversaries. I also like because it's not a year-specific calendar. So you write in the dates for yourself. So if you buy 3 of these calendars at once, you don't have to worry about them being outdated automatically. You can just buy 3 at a time, because if there's a bulk order or something, awesome. So, and then this is how their weeks break down into a single page. I like that. That's totally doable. And it helps you track your water, your healthy goals, things you want to get done for the weekend, and what are the most important to-dos. It has a page, a section for just notes in general. It has a section of blank paper for drawing. I am not somebody that draws, so this section will probably just be used for more notes. And then it has grids for if you want to chart something. Finally, it has coloring pages. I am the nerd that loves to color. I find it relaxing. And so as I get closer to my year starting, I will go more into depth about how I plan on using this and what my setup is. But it just came in, and so I haven't really gotten too deep into it. Plus it's also October. This probably isn't going to be touched, honestly, until December. But I have the basics set up for it. Okay. Now to the rest of the books. Alright. Nitpicks is having 40% off its book sale. So I decided I needed to pick up a few books just to expand my library. I got Cast On Bind Off, and it's spiral bound, which I love. And I like it because I am getting to a point where I'm getting a little tired of long tail cast on, and I can either do a stretchy bind off, a regular bind off, or an I-cord bind off. So I want to expand my knowledge a little bit, and since I have those knitting goals, maybe it'll be a learn a new cast on and cast off 1 month. Who knows? I'm getting really interested in wanting to learn how to weave with a rigid heddle loom. I am starting to save up for one, and so I went ahead and I bought this book because from what I've read, it discusses how to pick what loom is best for you and different projects. So I figured worst case scenario, if I end up not getting one or hating it, the book can be donated to the library. I got it 40% off, so it's not like it was a small fortune for the book. I also picked up Knit Mitts by Kate Atherley because I want to knit mittens. I have been wanting to knit mittens for forever. It was actually part of my goal this year to do some, but as I said, my year has taken a wild turn that I was not expecting, and so mittens have been placed on the back burner. I also want to eventually learn how to knit colorwork. I'm hoping next year I can get that done because I want to get through that Heart on My Sleeve book and knit everything in it, which involves colorwork for some of the sweaters. So I got Master Color Knitting, and it'll teach me stranded, intarsia, and double knitting. So I'm very excited. I've gotten a color wheel. I have a few different things that I've collected so far for learning how to do color work. And I'm hoping to to learn and become awesome at it. The next two books I have had for quite a while. Not a long while, but they came in before I was supposed to podcast last week. And so I've had a little more time to look at these. And so I have some patterns tabbed that I want to show you guys that I'm excited about. Also, I got The Complete Surprise by Elizabeth Zimmerman that does babies, children, and adult complete surprise jackets. And it being 40% off makes it totally affordable. I am a person, I will spend $25 on a skein of yarn and not blink an eye. But if you want me to pay $25 for a book that does one project in multiple sizes, no. So that made it $14. I was a little more willing to pay that for it. And part of the reason that I'm always hesitant with things for like one pattern is because you have books by Tin Can Knits. I love Tin Can Knits. I love them so much because every pattern that they come out with has like 8 sizes from newborn to a 4X. I'm a big woman and I appreciate that because not many patterns are written for a bigger person, especially, and when you're wanting to knit for the family, this is really nice because you can get everybody in this size range. At least in my house you can. So I have most of their books. The first pattern is that sweater knot. Beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. With my year of the sweater coming up, I want to knit it, and I want to knit it now. Again, not going to happen, but I want to. Okay, the next pattern, that's just a hat. We'll skip that because you can't really see too much, but it's something I'm going to be casting on soon, I think, while I'm gone. Okay, here we go. My tabs are not wanting to cooperate. I'm sorry. As I said, I'm in a spot where I want to knit mittens, so the Bon Bon mitts. And then finally, I love this book because it has ornaments in the back. And these are called Fancy Balls. I am raunchy, so the name itself makes me giggle. But the fact that the only name that they can come up with for this is Fancy Balls also makes me giggle. And again, it's color work, so I'm excited. I want to learn how to do those. Again, that is Great White North by Tin Can Knits. That's just a few of the patterns. It's not all the patterns in the book. And then this book, this is an old book, but I'm sure most of you have heard of it by now if you're a crocheter, but it's called Edward's Menagerie. They do crochet stuffed animals. And most of them have the same body and legs and head. You just add accessories and do special stitches to make them special. So I want to do a Georgina the Hippo. there's a joke about hippos in my family. And also my friend Mallory loves hippos. So I thought it'd be cute to make her one semi-soon. Alright, the next one is, I don't know who I would ever make this for, but I think it is precious. Winston the aardvark. How cute is he? I think he is precious. And one of the things I love about this book, y'all, is on the side, it'll say it's like a level 1, level 2, level 3. This is Douglas the Highland Coo. I have a thing for cows now because of my friend Angela. And so I've marked all the coos. And so it lets you know, those levels tell you what techniques you need to know in order to be able to be successful at the pattern. I appreciate that because I have tried to crochet animal before and it did not come out well. If you want pictures, go check out my Ravelry Kendra the Kitty Cat project page. It's rough. This is Sarah the Frisian Cow. And then 2 more. Caitlin the Giraffe. Precious. Giraffes are one of my favorite zoo animals. This is my favorite zoo animal that everybody's heard of. However, my absolute favorite zoo animal is an okapi. Not many people have heard of them before. So I typically just stick with giraffes. And then finally, the wolf, I think. It's precious. His name is Christoph. Just precious. I love the little white tips on his ears. Adorable. Okay. That is all of my stash enhancement. We are now, this is a really long podcast for me, y'all. Oh my goodness. Thank you for sticking with me. Leave a comment below if you made it all the way through because this is long for me. All right. At the beginning of the month, we went to Barcelona, Spain. And right off the bat, I want to say thank you to my Spanish teacher in high school, Senora Spellman, because even though in Barcelona they mostly speak Catalan, which is it's like a mixture between Spanish and French and Portuguese all rolled into one, I still knew enough Spanish to understand them, and they all also spoke Spanish, so I could get by pretty decently while being there. And this was only high school Spanish for me. I took 3 years of it though, and she was a wonderful teacher. And the fact that I still remember it almost 10 years after I've graduated should say something to you. She was wonderful, and she's retired now, but I'm friends with her on Facebook, and I can't thank her enough. She made me interested in the language and in the culture, and so my time in Spain was really treasured because of her. She is the person that introduced me to the church La Sagrada Familia, which is a church which was designed by Antonio Gaudí. It's a church that is still under construction, and it has been under construction for over 100 years at this point. It's absolutely beautiful inside and outside. Each facade is a different theme on this church. One is the Nativity, one is the crucifixion, and the other two you don't really get to see yet. One is called the Glory facade, but no one knows what it looks like yet. And then there's one more side, and I don't know what it is right off the top of my head. But it was the biggest thing that I wanted to see when we were in Barcelona. It was my must-do. I don't care what we had to do to see it. We were going to go, and we were going to see this. It's my one goal. And so the first day we were there, we were going on a tour group, and so you pretty much see the outside, and you go, you take a few pictures, and then you move on. We also saw a bunch of stadiums from when the Olympics were supposed to be held there, and when they were held there in 92, because they were also scheduled to be there a few years prior to that, but something happened with World War II, and so they didn't happen. We saw the beach. We saw this beautiful street called Las Ramblas, which is famous. It's also known for its pickpocketers. But there's so many shops on it. There's flamenco. There is restaurants, tapas, museums galore. There was so much to see. So we went on this walking tour for 4 hours. We saw all of the major things you had to go to. Then we stopped for lunch because your walking tour is in the morning and you get the afternoon as a free time. You can do whatever you want to do. So the Hubs and I paired up with another couple that we were friends with and had been on another trip to when we were in Italy. Met up with them and we ate at Hard Rock Cafe in Barcelona, even though, yes, I know you need to eat tapas and drink sangria when you're in Barcelona. However, Hard Rock, it's fun to say you ate at the Hard Rock in whatever city. We've been to the one in Berlin too, and now we've been in the one in Barcelona. We passed by the one in London, but we didn't go in. But we love the food anyway. And so we had lunch there. Then we walked along Las Ramblas. We passed an Antonio Gaudí house called the Bastillo. And what's special about this home that he created is, hiccups. Antonio Gaudí loved nature. And so there is no straight line on this house because there is no straight line that forms naturally in nature. And there's like this beautiful dragon scale on the back. It was really unique. And the tiling in the picture, just the time it took. You'll see in the pictures, it's got these beautiful tiles in the background that form the facade of the house, and it's just wonderful. The other thing that we did that free day is, this is where my podcast is not going to be family friendly. So if you have little ears, you might want to pause, send them away, and or put headphones in. Or if you want to stop here, that's okay too. We went. Has everybody done what they're going to do? Okay. We went to an erotic museum because it blew our minds to see this. And keep in mind, I have been to Amsterdam. I've seen the red light district. I was in high school when I saw it. It was part of my birthday trip with my grandparents. And it's definitely toned down nowadays. But we saw this and we're just like, what on earth? And it's actually, we Googled it. It is one of the top 10 museums in Barcelona. And we knew we weren't going to get into an art gallery. There was no way we were going to get in to see the Casa Bastillo by Gaudí at that point because the line was way out the door. And we were tired from the walking tour. So we said, okay, we'll go in here. And we expected it to be expensive. No. It was less than €30 for the both of us to get in. And we each got a glass of champagne. Oh my goodness. And that included an audio guide. How cool is that? And I would put pictures, however, I don't want to break YouTube guidelines. And I'm not sure how comfortable everyone is with seeing them. However, I am of the belief that Americans as a whole are much more prudish and closed-minded about the human body. Because in Europe, there are nude beaches. That is not something you see that often in the States. You see naked bodies on billboards here. You have all of those Playboys and Sports Illustrated, those kinds of magazines. In the States, they are hidden behind these black borders, and so children don't see them and they aren't exposed to it. That's not how it works here. There is nothing to hide these pictures from children. So Europeans as a whole tend to be a little more open and more comfortable with the body. I mean, it's a natural thing. Everybody has one. So, but I don't want to make anybody uncomfortable by posting the pictures. And it pretty much goes over the history of erotica and erotica in artwork and statues and history throughout time. It's not just in Europe and Spain. They have paintings from China from like 500 BC. They're on vases in Greek times, and it's just, it goes way back in history. It's not about which position is the best one. It's a clear take, an informative educational museum. With that said, there are little things that make you giggle. There is a list of world records regarding genitalia and sexual reproduction, and I'm trying to word this nicely, guys. And the act of lovemaking that they have on walls. And it lists all the world records for it. There are rooms filled with toys and videos. And it goes through history of, they also have a room that's just dedicated to birth control throughout history. From, it used to be this sheath of lamb skin. People in ancient Egyptian times, they used crocodile dung. There's tinfoil in there and saran wrap. You'd be surprised on some of the things that were in those rooms. But it was a stop that we hadn't planned on making, but at the end of the day, we were glad that we did, because it was a unique experience that I don't think most Americans would go to, but you learned a lot while you were there. The next day, we went to La Sagrada Familia because I didn't get to see the inside when we went the first time. We spent the entire day in that church. There are so many different nooks and crannies to see, and there's a workshop so you can watch these people create parts of the church that still haven't been built yet. They're making the models and forming the plaster and putting pieces together and getting it ready to be added on. There is the basement of the church is where they hold an actual mass every day. It's an active Catholic church, you guys. It's known as a minor basilica. It was recognized that way in 2012 by the Pope at the time, I think. And also Antonio Gaudi's grave is in the basement of the church. You don't get to go up close and see it. You don't get to go into the sanctuary that the parishioners there attend mass at. But you can go upstairs. You can see a lot of different things. The stained glass is beautiful in this church. You'll see a lot of pictures of it because Gaudi said most churches, when you enter them, can feel a little dark, a little cold. And he didn't want that. He said that God is about love and light and warmth. And so when you entered the church he wanted you to be bathed in that light. I thought it was a beautiful sentiment. And I mean, you need to look at some of the pictures I took you guys. The doors on the nativity facade are leaves with these gold statues of different insects on them. And that was done by a Japanese architect following Gaudi's pattern, designs. And it was wonderful. I had to sit in the basement for a little bit. And I got a little teary-eyed because this is something I had dreamt of seeing since I was 14. I was finally there. And it was so special, and I cannot wait to actually go and see it done, because the goal is to have it done in a few years. In 6 years, it'll be done, is what they're hoping to have it accomplished by. So I'm actually going to live to see it complete. I plan on going back to see it done. I don't care what I have to do. I don't care where I'm living. I want to go see it. So that's going to be a repeat trip, I'm sure. With that said, I am going to go because this is an 1.5-hour podcast and there are still pictures to add. So do what makes your heart sing, y'all. For me, that's 2 sticks and string. See ya. Army Wife Knitting Life here is La Sagrada Familia. Mire la iglesia.